big news. Every Godzilla fanatic out there is talking about this, but here I am giving my 2 cents into the subject. Not that many of you really care. So Criterion has just announced the release of their 1,000th box set, which that alone is a milestone. But instead of a Kurosawa flicks or some, stupid art house crap that they tend to push, they chose the King of the Monsters. What an interesting choice. But after thinking about it for a little while, it did make perfect sense. Money. This will make Criterion a lot of money, while also introducing many new people to their line of work. A lot of Godzilla fans aren't exactly Criterion Collection fanatics. This would introduce them to Criterion. That's just a win-win, in my opinion, in terms of, looking at it from a business standpoint. This box set had actually been hinted for a very long time. In fact, ever since they announced they were starting to stream to Starz and the Criterion streaming channel, which is amazing, by the way. My honest guess was that Criterion was just waiting for some of the copyright claims to end, and then buy up the rights to distribute full sale here in the United States. I was right. And now we are finally getting all 15 Showa-era Godzilla films in one large package by the same distributor for the first time. Now, this isn't the first time, Toho has done this in Japan, but that's in Japan. That's not here in the United States. Only people with region-free, DVD and Blu-ray players can watch those. This is here in the United States, released by us. We're getting 1080p restorations for every single one of these films. Something I'm just in love with. In fact, I'll go as far and say that the Starz-Criterion restorations that are available now to watch are better than the Toho Blu-rays. I mean, the Toho Blu-rays are fantastic, don't get me wrong. They really are. But they're kind of flat. Their color palettes are squished. And you do get some more detail out there, but as a result, you're lacking some of that beautiful color that was present in the films. The Criterion restorations, now streaming on Starz, are all beautiful and full of that lavish color we all love about Showa Godzilla. In fact, they, showing off the flashy lights, the red explosions, the outlandishness of the monsters, the gold of King Ghidorah, the beauty and elegance of Mothra. All of these staples that make Showa-era Godzilla films what they are, and beautiful staples on cinematic history, and Criterion has admitted as such. This is a milestone, nonetheless, but we're also getting the American and Japanese versions of King Kong vs. Godzilla, along with Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, together for the first time. Hell, even the Japanese version of King Kong vs. Godzilla still hasn't been released officially here in the United States other than from bootlegs. So finally, we're getting this. This is the one I've been dying for the most. This is the one that I wanted classic media to do the most, but Universal wouldn't allow. Though it has been confirmed that this has nothing to do with Toho's 4K restoration of the original version, which, that is unfortunate, but still, I know Criterion will do their job because they always do. It doesn't matter what product that they pick. If they pick a product, they go full sale with it. Am I sad that the US cuts for many of these are slipping away? Yes. I mean, it's hard-bound for me to deny that I think the US cut for Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster is superior to the Japanese version. It's clear Toho now holds the rights to these versions and only wants their cuts to be released. But for those like me who want to see the US cuts restored and still cherished, there is hope, though it's kind of a bit dubious how you do it. Fans have been restoring AIP dubs, US cuts, all over the internet, using, ripped Blu-ray qualities, they even recolored, grading the films to really bring out the colors and stuff like that. Even, recreating entire logos, entire credits, matching the original US, cuts exactly. So those versions, I'm happy to say, the US cuts will never fully go away. And I will always stand by that those American cuts are actually the best versions to introduce children to Godzilla with here in the United States. Children can't read subtitles, I'm sorry. In terms of the Criterion release, we are getting a few of the dubs, which is good for children. though these are the international dubs, and none of the AIP Titan-Tetra dubs, which are superior in almost every way, shape, and form. I'm looking at Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster and Destroy All Monsters in particular. And it makes sense that it would go with the international dub simply because they matched the Japanese cuts down to the wire with editing and runtime. No additional editing is needing to make them sync. Now, this is a massive set. 8 discs, 15 films, plus an additional 2 because of King of the Monsters and the American cut of King Kong vs. Godzilla. Each one, 1080p. Those are big files. It's one of the reasons the quality on the old classic media releases are a bit lower than usual. DVDs hold much less space than Blu-rays. And those DVDs, the classic media ones, they put 2 versions of the film on them, plus audio commentaries and a couple of special features. Those discs were full. The same will be said here with Criterion, having 2 90-minute movies in full uncompressed 1080p. Those are big files. We're talking about like 10 gigabyte files. Because of this, the special features are unfortunately lacking, which is why I'm hesitant to actually buy this set. I do want it. Let me make it very clear. I'm drooling, you know. But I already have each of these films multiple times, and have, you know, discs with many special features. Like the classic media discs. I know fans spit vile at them, which I don't understand. But they all had interesting commentaries and some good podcast slideshows there, which I can say actually helped inspire what I'm doing here. Those commentaries on the classic media discs in particular are chock full of information on the making of each film, the history of the creators, and they shed a lot of light on these films, and yeah, I enjoy listening to them. I mean, I think David Khaled's commentary for Ghidra the Three-Headed Monster is the greatest audio commentary I've ever heard. And I don't want those to go away. So of course I'm going to cherish those DVDs and so on and so forth. I'm going to hold on to them tight because I love them, and they all have some great information that I don't want to see let go. And that's because special features are what dictates what physical media I buy or let go of. I look at Spartacus 1960 as my prime example. I have several choices of which version of Spartacus to get, you know, both on DVD and Blu-ray. And I went with the Criterion DVD despite the picture quality being a bit lesser than the restored Blu-rays that came out later. Why? Criterion had all of the special features and some more. You know, the Blu-rays had some, you know, scattered here and there, but not all of them. One set had one set had another here. Criterion had them all, with some more. So I simply stuck with the DVD, even though that is an older, you know, technically more flawed version of the movie. Another example is Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and Godzilla vs. Gigan, those 50th anniversary DVDs. You remember those? When the Blu-rays were released, there were no special features, only an updated picture quality. So I just stuck with the original DVDs. There's no point of me, you know, going out there and spending, you know, $12 to $20 on something that I already basically own, just with a slightly worse picture quality. So what we're getting here with Criterion are mainly spillovers from Godzilla 54, their Godzilla 54 release in terms of special features, which, by the way, those were amazing. David Khaled's commentary for both Godzilla and King of the Monsters are phenomenal. Greatest audio commentary dude out there. There are a couple of additional features, though, such as an interview with Ishiro Honda, but not many. The booklet itself does look nice, but will it tell me things I don't already know? Probably not. And will that justify me spend $180 on it? Which, by the way, that's a steal. You're basically paying $12 per movie, plus an additional 2 because of King of the Monsters in the US cut to King Kong vs. Godzilla. A steal, considering the fact that most Criterion Collection releases, you're talking like $24, $25 per disc. You're basically getting them half off. Now, I've also heard some complaints about how Criterion is going with their normal route of restoring only their original mono audio tracks. The Toho Blu-rays all have a 5.1 sound mix. I will make that very clear. But I also want to make it clear, and I'll be the first one to say that, those were nothing special. The only good 5.1 surround sound mix that I remember getting from those is actually the War of the Gargantua's release. All the other ones are just kind of subpar. They don't really add or take away anything from your viewing experience. You were honestly better off hearing the original sound as it was originally intended, with the exception of King Kong vs. Godzilla, which was originally released in stereophonic sound. That was actually one of the selling points of the film. Alright, so that's all great stuff. So let's actually talk about the box set itself, which is unfortunately where my negatives start showing. It looks terrible. Just terrible. Why pink? Why? So it seems to me they were going with a comic book vibe, so poppy colors, while also using the typical Criterion abstractness they strive on, which I honestly think a lot of Criterion's box sets, are hits and misses in terms of their aesthetics. And this box set's art, made by multiple people, they are misses. I'm sorry. These are just ugly. If not the drawing, then certainly the color. Godzilla's not a comic book. Why would they go with this aesthetic? And I honestly think it's because the people who were heading the box set itself, they just didn't know what made Showa Era Godzilla. They just picked what looked cool without doing the research, and knew that they wanted something with pink in it for some reason. If I was in charge of this box set, I would have just stuck with the simple but to-the-point aesthetic of the Star's Criterion posters. They housed an original promotion still, or even simply a screenshot from the film itself, then put in blocky text the title of the film, plus the Criterion logo. These better capture the spirit of the original films, far better than the horrible artwork that we're getting here. I'm sorry, but I think this artwork is just terrible. Destroy All Monsters and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monsters in particulars make me scratch my head wondering what the fuck they were thinking. Why is Hedorah and Godzilla fighting in the city? You had so much potential to show off Hedorah's red eyes over Mount Fuji or something like that, but no, they did nothing. Why is Godzilla destroying a city in Terror of Mechagodzilla? He's the good guy, not the bad guy. What the fuck even is the Megalon poster? What is that? The only two posters I think accurately represent the movie that they are depicting are the King Kong vs. Godzilla posters, along with the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. All the others have wrong monster designs, no focus, bizarre colors. Like pink? Really, guys? Pink? Whenever did Godzilla have a pink aesthetic? Maybe Shin Godzilla, but that wasn't pink, that was purple. Like why is that the Fire Rodan design in the Invasion of Astro Monsters cover? Why is Godzilla a Millennium design straight from a toy promo pose in Mothra? Why the fuck is Godzilla a mushroom cloud on the Megalon poster? It makes sense that Godzilla could be a mushroom, a mushroom cloud design on, let's say, the original. Why Megalon out of all of them? I mean, the Star's posters were simple, direct, effective. Just reuse those. That'd save Criterion money and time. And those captured the essence of the film much better than that art. But look, I've always enjoyed simpleness in posters. It doesn't surprise me I prefer the Star's posters for that reason when looking at my opinion objectively. It's why I don't like a lot of, Godzilla fan art, like the comics and such. Matt Frank, in particular, I don't really care for. Though I do respect them to no end because they sell the brand and keep Godzilla and kaiju alive. But their work tends to have no focus. Where do I look? Why is everything colored in the same tone? There's no shading. It's like they're puking on a page. And that's this Criterion artwork. But let me be clear and say that that's just aesthetics, not the content. I'm certainly happy that they went poppy and bright with their colors, absolutely, because that's Showa Era Godzilla in a nutshell. And I'm glad that they went with that and not a more serious tone or darker, drearier colors like the others. I mean, these films are absurd. They're fun. They're full of life and color. I can say the box art certainly reflects that. Just not in the way I personally like. But this, nevertheless, is going to be an amazing box set to own. Historical, even. And this is going to be the definitive release for a long while, I can already tell, especially since Criterion was dumping so much money with this, and even their patience screamed it. And it makes it so much easier to introduce an entire new generation, and even a new crowd of people, to Godzilla. And the fact that it's Criterion, one of, if not the most respected distributor of classic films out there, and art house films, says volumes to where Godzilla has finally come. Many people and critics are finally coming around to these movies, and the mocking has begun to subside. These films are finally getting starting to get the respect that they so deserve. And I'm ecstatic that Criterion is doing this. So in the end, go on Facebook, like Gain Productions for all up-to-date information of what we're doing. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on my blog on the website, everything like that. All the links are in the description below. And in the end, this is Adam Noyce of AN Productions saying, sayonara.